Howdy y'all, I'm Tim Jedi here, aka the Texas Gamer. I know typically my videos are more based around video games, maybe online quizzes, maybe me showing off my photos I just took. But one thing I don't know if y'all know, I mean, you might be able to tell because the fact that I'm wearing a grunt style shirt, I like the military. Which I have a video I sent off my editor. I don't know when it's going to be posted because she's still editing it. But what I also like to do is I also like to read up on military analytics. I like to analyze military stuff. Now, I haven't been saying this on YouTube simply because it's like a situation of I just never have a reason to. It wouldn't be entertaining. It wouldn't. It'd just be an endless ramble of me saying a whole bunch of crap like one of my previous videos. But I was watching Habitual Line Cross recently. He mentioned water in Chinese nukes, and I was going like, that's funny. That's funny. So I was going like, I'm gonna see if this is accurate. So I pulled up Business Insider, and it says U.S. intel shows China's army had missiles filled with water instead of fuel in corruption scandal. Now, what I had been saying for years, whenever I'd have a military strategy discussion or something like that with my friends or someone else I know, I always say, "Yeah, dude, Chinese military sucks. It's because you have all these military analysts saying, oh, Chinese military, it's second most powerful in the world. It's the second most capable. It's not capable at all. If you're putting water inside your nukes, you have a huge issue, and in this case, is only scratching the surface. Now, as to what level, actually, I can't say. On my opinion, though, I'd say that if you're filling your nukes with water, your military has a severe Achilles heel that your own government and military are putting an arrow into, but are not going fully inside. Now, based upon this, I would assume that the Chinese military is having trouble trying to get enough fuel for all their equipment. Because, as y'all know, Chinese military is massive. But the size of the military doesn't matter. It's how you use it that matters. First, the U.S. military is a lot smaller than the Chinese military, but, except for Air Force, but Chinese ground forces and naval forces have a lot more there. Now, again, size does not equate to quality. Like, for instance, Chinese military or Navy has more surface vessels. U.S., though, has a larger Navy still, but by tonnage and capability. So let's read into this, right? China's army fielded missiles with water instead of fuel and arrays of silos with improper lids. Now, that is kind of an interesting thing, though, because if you have nukes that are indeed filled with fuel, you launch them, lids don't open, kaboom! You've nuked your own self. It's kind of situation of like, congratulations, you played yourself. This is what the Chinese military is doing right here. They are playing themselves. They are screwing themselves over. Same with Russia. I mean, consider that Russia was using Chinese-made tires that were not working. It does make you go. It definitely does make you think. If that's the case for the Russian army, how bad is it for the Chinese army? Because we don't hear much from the Chinese army because those military parades, they are highly, 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 highly scripted. Same thing with all those training videos or fire safety videos or whatever that the Chinese propaganda department pumps out in the probably hundreds. Bloomberg, which did not name its sources, reported on Saturday that the intelligence indicated Xi Jinping's, or Xi Jinping, as I like to call him, recent ousting of more than a dozen senior commanders in the People's Liberation Army, or the, I can't think of insulting name for that. I'm gonna have to brainstorm that. Stemmed from serious issues of graft such as these. Now, typically, if you see purges in a military, it's, from what I've analyzed, it's one of two, maybe three things. Either is that, in the case of the Russian military, it's not that they're purging corrupt officials, it's that they're purging the officials or military members who are the non-corrupt ones and are actually trying to better the military, but it's at a cost, and that it may make their leader look bad, and that these people may also even be quite popular and could threaten that leader's current position, which of course was similar to with the Soviet military during Stalin's purges. Another one, it is indeed corruption, that it is indeed bad. But in that case, if for dictatorships, purges happen all the time. But if they're pretty much, if it's pretty much this out there, you know it's bad. I guess it could be third, is that the leader who's doing the purges is either just batshit crazy. In this case, Xi Jinping is batshit crazy. Anybody who's willingly a dictator is automatically batshit crazy. Or they're just stupid. It's y'all's choice on which one you want to go with there on how you're going to analyze this. Mine is that it could be all three. I mean, again, I have no military experience. I can't say for certain. This is just what I've analyzed based upon previous histories and previous militaries. The purge went so far as to axe even the Chinese defense minister, Li Shangfu, who disappeared for 2 months before being replaced in October. If you end up having to axe your defense minister, because again, in most dictatorships, from what I've seen, that generally someone like the defense minister is a bootlicker to the head honcho, to the head dictator, like Putin. You have Shoigu. He's a bootlicker to Putin. Shoigu's completely incompetent. He doesn't know his left from his right. But if China axes their defense minister, then from what I'm analyzing this, the Chinese military may be in a worse state than the Russian military, but that they're just better at hiding it. U.S. intelligence sources told Bloomberg that corruption was so severe in China's rocket forces and the wider PLA that would most likely force Xi to recalibrate whether Beijing can take on any major military action soon. Okay, so about the military action part. With a lot of people saying, like, oh, China's probably going to launch invasion of Taiwan probably in the next few years. What I've analyzed from it is that China lost that ability about 3 years ago. Or whenever, like, the Chinese massive military buildup started. Because it grew, because it started so fast, it's like, a lot of things are going to, y'all can see my hands. I'm trying to represent like a timeline with my hands right now, but they're below where my camera can see. But with the massive Chinese buildup that they had, and they're still doing, it's kind of a situation of, as fast as it was, and as low quality as almost everything made in China is, most of the flaws are going to slip through the cracks. So it's a matter of situation of, is the Chinese military a paper tiger? In my opinion, yes. According to this article, yes. But is that factual, whether it's just paper tiger? We don't know. No one knows unless the Chinese military actually goes into a military conflict. But Based upon Chinese military in UN peacekeeping missions, I'd say they are. Because in every UN peacekeeping mission China has been in, they have done absolutely horror. Like, they failed to. Like, they almost completely failed every UN peacekeeping mission they've been in. So, yeah, this is not good for China. To me, it's funny because again, it shows that I, and my gut has that my gut may be right. That modern day dictatorship militaries are automatically really bad quality and automatically suck. Now, like, here's my 2 cents on how a conventional war with like conventional full scale military conflict with China would go for the U.S. It wouldn't be cakewalk because I mean the sheer weight of numbers would be enough to at least cause a little bit of delays and issues for the U.S. But in total, based upon what I'm reading from here, I mean I know I haven't read the whole article yet, but based upon this article and what I've analyzed from it, China would have no chance. Now, in terms of nukes, based upon the fact that they are reporting that China is fueling their nukes with water, it might be a situation of how many of their nukes could launch. Also, considering the doors, so it's like this definitely calls into question everything, all those military analysts have said about China. Same thing happened with Russia when they launched their invasion of Ukraine. When they launched their invasion of Ukraine, it called into question everything all those military analysts were saying about Russia. Not me though, because I already had a feeling that Russian military was a load of crap. It was not even a paper tiger. It was more of a paper kitty. The rocket force in China's main military branch overseeing its nuclear weapons has been a key focus of Xi's recent push to rapidly modernize Beijing's forces. It has been especially central to China's posturing on Taiwan, with Beijing rolling out long-range missiles on its coast to threaten the self-governed island. Now, from what I've also analyzed, is that most dictators are absolute cowards. But they're dumb smart, if that makes sense. Putin is dumb smart. Xi Jinping is dumb smart. Big fat baby man is dumb smart. Or, well, actually, he's just dumb. It's everyone around him who's dumb smart. Now, what this means is that in terms of military, in terms of how to keep their power, they somewhat know what they're doing. Xi Jinping, considering he's screwing up everything he's doing in China, he can't, I'm all surprised he hasn't been overthrown by at least by the party. But the fact, well, actually no, in terms of military and strategic thinking externally, they are dumb smart. Basically, they want to invade a neighboring small country, but they underestimate that other nation. Russia underestimated Ukraine, and yet it's like we had been training and equipping Ukrainian military for years at that point. And there are videos on YouTube about it. It's like Russia should realize, hey, you know what? U.S. has been training these guys. Maybe we should at least err a little bit on the side of caution before we launch this invasion. They didn't. They went, oh yeah, just believe everybody, all the corrupt officials that we know are corrupt. Just believe them. Also, the fact that Putin decided to launch this invasion during a time of the year which anybody with at least a bare bones knowledge of Eastern European military history would know never to launch your invasion or military operations during the muddy season, which is what Putin did, and he paid dearly for it. In this case, though, I don't foresee a Chinese invasion of Taiwan going over any amount good for China. It would be even if China won, it would be the most Pyrrhic victory to Pyrrhic victory. Basically, China would be in a situation of, well, our military is, well, over 3/4 of our military is either dead, has surrendered, have deserted, or we just don't know where they are. That's the problem with the large military. Yes, it's a larger military is powerful, but it also becomes it's like a rock, right? But in this case, the rock keeps on growing, and you are required to hold it alone. Eventually, it becomes a boulder, and it becomes unwieldy. This is the problem the Chinese military has. It's become so large, it's become unwieldy. Or basically, even if they launch an invasion, it's going to be more chaotic than the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. In 2021, researchers said satellite images showed China was constructing hundreds of nuclear-capable missile silos in the Xinjiang desert, allowing its arsenal to potentially rival those of Russia or the US, which we've actually started to make more nukes as of late. But US intelligence said one example of corruption was the entire fields of silos in western China were fitted with lids that prevented missiles from launching effectively, a source told Bloomberg. Again, you have doors that don't open for your nukes. You are pretty much like you have a gun that's off safety in your pocket, pointed right at your foot. That's what China's doing right now. Like it's just a major incident waiting to happen inside China to cause even more backlash. Which right now China cannot afford any more internal issues right now, because right now they're having banking issues. They're having, COVID-19 in China has not gotten better. China's the only country is one of the very few countries out there that is still struggling with COVID-19. And their banking sector is also in shambles. Their entire country is going down the crap. I mean, now China's the second most populated country in the world, right? Due to the one-child policy. That was the first thing that started to see China decline as a military and economic powerhouse. Then you had the banking issues that they're having right now, where the Chinese people are losing their own money. As of COVID-19 too. 3 things where China is shooting themselves in the foot, and is causing their capabilities to tank. On top of that, now China has a population crisis where a larger number of their population are elderly, aka not military age. Also, the fact that so many people in China who are in the military are only children or are only childs. So if they die in conflict, their parents can be a little pissed. Chinese Communist Party. Shut up, phone. I always forget to turn off the volume on my phone for during and before videos. Okay. Xi's purge was long speculated to be tied to his long-running anti-corruption campaign. Anti-corruption. In dictatorships, anti-corruption just means remove the people who could possibly be, just against the current regime in any way. Not necessarily that they are corrupt, it's just that they have a bigger brain than the current leader. And that's the case of Russia. Of the recently sacked Chinese commanders, at least 3 held top positions in the rocket force and 4 were responsible for equipment. Now, in this case, though, they're actually purging the right people, though there may be a few people there who they are purging who are not the right people. Knowing the history of dictatorships, at least some of the people there are actually the competent ones that they're purging. The PLA has since emphasized staying vigilant against graft, citing a battle against corruption repeatedly in its New Year's Day statement. The Chinese embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to a request for comment sent outside regular business hours. Okay, so here's my final 2 bits on this. First off, because of this corruption, because of how piss poor the Chinese military economy and country in general is, should we underestimate China? No. Never underestimate your enemy. Always, it's better to overestimate your enemy than underestimate. If you overestimate, it means instead of, an underestimation, you might bring, like one company of men against a whole battalion of enemies. You overestimate, you're going to bring 6 battalions against their 1 battalion. Metaphorically speaking. Now, does that mean Chinese military is capable? Probably not. Chinese military is probably in a lot worse state than the Russian military based upon what I'm analyzing from this article. That doesn't mean we should also not be wary. No, we should be wary. We should be wary of all our enemies, all our potential enemies, including Iran, North Korea, China, Russia, potentially Venezuela too. And does this mean we should stop supporting our allies like Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, Ukraine, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Germany, Poland? No. We stop supporting them, then we stop supporting ourselves. Because every lesson of history tells us is that the greater risk lies in every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. If we're taking a look at this, it's like, oh, Chinese military can't really do anything, so we're going to stop supporting Taiwan because Taiwan will be good on themselves because they can stop China militarily. No. That's appeasement. Again, you had Germany before World War II. There was appeasement there, and that led to us getting involved, which would have happened anyways, right? Whether or not Japan attacked us anyways. Effectively, what we can take from this is that Chinese military is a lot worse state than everyone believes. And also, no, we can never risk appeasement. We can never risk to be neutral again. Because even if our enemies are in a piece of crap state, it doesn't mean that they cannot at least threaten countries that we rely on in some way or form. Even if we don't rely on them, eventually it could trigger us into having to be forced to join the war. Similar to what happened with us during World War II and World War I. I know a lot of people say, U.S. shouldn't have intervened in World War I. That was the best. That was the best scenario we could have hoped for during World War I. We only got involved. France may not be France. UK might have become a puppet of Germany in some way or form. So the Union might have been a lot more powerful too. So we ended up helping Poland out, and Poland was able to gain its independence from Russian Empire, and then eventually Soviet Union. So, yeah, can't underestimate our enemies, but at the same time, we can't really overestimate them when they're in this piece of crap position, but also we can't risk appeasement. Like, we can't risk appeasing Chinese military going like, oh, we're sorry that your military is such in crap position. It's like, we'll go a little easier on you. No. This is the moment where we need to go balls to the wall, grab China by the jugular, and hold on tight. Because now that they have been proven that their military is a lot weaker and a lot more inept than what a lot of people believed, this is the moment to put more pressure on them to ensure peace. Because unfortunately, a soft hand can never guarantee peace. Only way to guarantee peace is through a strong hand. Unfortunately. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If y'all like to, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, maybe share this video around, or don't. I know this was not my normal standard video. I know this was not, gaming or a quiz. But I heard about this. I got interested, so I decided to do a video. Will this video get Will this video get at least 100 views? I can't say for certain. Will it get at least 1 view? I don't know. If it gets at least 1 view, I'll consider that a win. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. So y'all have a great morning, day, evening, night, afternoon, or whatever time of the day it is. And I hope to see y'all next time. Goodbye.